Man, no foreplay.
We bike.
Did you just clap, nigga? What was that?
That definitely was a clap. I don't know where that clap come from. You know, I heard like 3 people talking about cheerleading today, so I think it's probably like stuck in my head or some shit.
It was almost. I thought it was a soul clap or some shit.
Hey, I got that as one of the kids' celebrations at school. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, pick a celebration. They're like, give me a soul clap. I'm like, yeah.
Oh God, and you here, right?
I'm here.
Yeah. You all right, man? You
know, the school year has started back, and you know, people think about the stress they put on the kids. Pray for the parents of the students.
Pray for the parents.
Because we got to adjust too.
Pray for the parents.
Traveling and dropping off is kicking my ass.
Oh shit! Okay.
And I just went from 3 kids to 399, so it's tough.
Oh man, you know what? Can I start this podcast off a little special? Something on my heart. I want.
Go ahead, black man.
I'm playing the clip. So now I'm chilling. It's a beautiful feeling. Yeah. Oh man, I had to play that.
What you got going on? What was that?
So I think everybody knows I'm a big Mac Miller fan.
That clip. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, the passing of his death came about recently. So, you know, anybody who knows Mac, one of his first projects that like kind of went big was called Blue Slide Park. So it was just a bunch of his fans gathered at Blue Slide Park, and you know they sang that song and a bunch of his songs. So that's the song. It's really the second part of a song, but it's called Oblivion, and it's a super dope song. But yeah, it's like crazy. So I just wanted to play that, man, because I know we hadn't been here in some time, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take it back. I feel like a lot of time when people pass, you know, granted, we do have those times where we make people big and we celebrate them, but also we have those times as well where we kind of forget certain people. And, you know, Mac passed away, you know, and 1 year anniversary this month. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out there, man. Just on my mind.
You know, that was a dope moment. I saw the video of that. It was cool to see all his fans singing in unison with they lighters or their cell phones lit up. That was a dope moment to see. Rest in peace, Mac Miller.
And you know, I feel bad like I never got into Mac Miller because once I heard a couple of his songs, I was like, oh, this is something I could have vibed with. Mm-hmm. And you know, I hate that death has to be the reason for you to get into an artist or something like that, man.
Right.
Definitely. And it's crazy you bring that up. I was in my Facebook memories today, and I was saying the passing of one of my childhood friends was also like, I don't really say whatever they were saying, death anniversary and all that stuff. Well, he passed away a few years ago on this day as well. So rest up Big John, you know, Quincy's finest. So let that be heard as well.
Oh, definitely. You know, it's a phrase that I like. And I know people are gonna think I like it because of Drake, but it's at the end of Miss Me on his first album. And what he always say, he said, I think at the end of it, he's like, forever in our hearts. He shout out some of his people that passed. And that's a phrase I like to use when we talk about people pass away. Like, cause I feel like, you know, forever in our hearts. Like, I feel like it's a simple phrase. I'm sure he wasn't the first one to say it, but like that forever in our hearts. Like, you know, people forever have that place when they touch you in a certain way. So yeah. Definitely. So yeah, man, no foreplay. Back again.
Back again,
one more time.
We be hearing the murmurs out there. We hear the noise about where's the podcast. You know, we gonna keep delivering, y'all. Relax, just some time. we'll get this set scheduled together.
Yes, we will.
Just like you, we have a life as well. Life happens. Things
really,
happen.
Some of you chicks cancel dick appointments all the time.
Oh God.
Right.
Always bet on black. Like
always bet on
black.
What? So yeah, man, it's a lot happening in the world. A lot happening. A little too much happening for my taste at this point. I kind of even hit a point today. I was like, man, I just don't want to watch the news. I felt that way about a month ago, and I was like, but the news is me. I have to know the news. But after a while, I'm like, man, this news is depressing. Like, it's not enough good news out there in the world.
That shit is your Cheerios, man. You don't got to see all that.
Right. So I do want to, as No Foreplay, we talk about pop culture. Everybody knows this, so hopefully we won't bring you down to the lower side, but we're going to kick it off with some good news today. Some real fucking good news. I'm excited as fuck, and I say as fuck like that for a reason. One of my favorite shows of all time, The Boondocks, is returning.
Yes, I saw that.
Been renewed for 2 seasons, right?
Yes, 2 seasons. And this time it's coming to HBO. Comedy Central let it go. Like they let a lot go on Comedy Central when you look back. But this time HBO don't censor nothing.
Nothing.
Not a thing. Be back, baby.
It is so, yeah. I know entertainers are mad nervous now, B. You thought Tyler Perry was up in arms. That motherfucker started firing people, Jack. How real was that, man? Isn't that like telling on yourself, though? Supposedly after the Boondocks episode aired, he let go some people from his camp.
Right. The interesting part that I've always found about Tyler Perry and, the way he does business is that Boondocks episode was hilarious. And if y'all know, Aaron Magruder kind of hides in plain sight, right? So people know where he is, but he's not on the internet or anything like that. But anytime something crazy happens that the Boondocks predicted or something else crazy happens, people comment and say, the Boondocks need an episode about this. The one thing I'll say I'm super excited about that it coming back is that Regina King is almost in some sort of, I know she got some sort of deal, a few deals out there. Actors don't have to be exclusive, but she's in a show that's coming out, Watchmen, on HBO. And so I'm like, man, if she's coming back to do Riley and Huey voices again, man, because she killed them shits. So I'm like,
I had seen an interview with her, and she was just knocking them out so easily. When she was like, "Oh yeah, I could just get into character," she just jumped into it. It didn't even look. It doesn't even seem like her face goes with the voice she does. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like I said, that is dope.
Yeah, she's one of the most underrated. Well, the thing is, I feel like not underrated, because I feel like the public, not that she's underrated, but we kind of forget about her until we see her on screen, and then we automatically think of all the dope shit that she's done, right? So, we'll see if Bill Stringer talking, all of a sudden damn, she been killing shit for a long time. The other show she was in, she was just in the show, I think on HBO, she did The Leftovers as well, their final season. And, she just always pop up in the role and you say, damn, she killed that shit. Even as the Netflix show, 7 Seconds or something like that. You'd be like, oh shit, damn, this motherfucker can act. She been acting like a kid. She ain't never had one controversy, man. On some real shit.
No, she has it, but sometimes I think when childhood stars grow up, we can't take them out of that childhood star light, or however you want to put it. A lot of people still think of her as Regina King off fucking 227, bro. Like she's been surpassed.
Right.
You know what I mean? She's definitely been left at. So I think once people get past that, they can still like. I look at some minor, like a cult classic, Enemy of the State.
Right.
And when she's Will Smith's wife on Enemy of the State, you know what I mean? She played a hell of a role on there, like low key.
Bring that role up, like people forget about that
shit.
shit.
Yeah, like low key.
Yeah,
I fuck with her.
Yeah, I don't look at her as a kid because she could have had all of me for a long time. Just,
oh yeah,
just to be real out here in the streets.
You know, Thin Line Between Love and Hate is like one of my favorite movies, and she was fine as hell in Thin Line. Messing with fucking with the Chicken King.
Oh God.
Look at Martin dumb as hell.
So yeah, man, we got that back. So yeah, I'm excited. Boondocks is back. Boondocks predicted a lot of shit.
A whole
lot of shit.
A whole lot. It's crazy. With the chicken sandwiches, the R. Kelly.
Rappers wearing skirts and purses and halter tops. Yeah. Like, damn, nigga. Like, okay. Okay.
Man, shit, if you want to keep it funky, like the whole 6ix9ine situation right now is like not Gangstalicious. What was the other one who was supposed to be a killer? Then he was really scary.
I can't think of his name. I forget who you're talking about.
Probably Thugnificent or some shit.
Yeah, I know. Listen. Hold up. Let's pivot into 6ix9ine right now. We have to talk about Tekashi 6ix9ine. Matter of fact, I'm not. From here on out, I'm referring to him as Daniel Hernandez. That is his name.
What's his name?
Daniel Hernandez, man. As we all know, his court case started yesterday. He is testifying in the trial of conspiracy. I think it's conspiracy and RICO case against the Treyway Bloods, to which he was a part of. We finding out so much in this case. Like, I kind of felt like it's weird because, court cases where people snitch go like a weird way, right? Either you tell like too much or either you talk specifically about the crime. They have him on the stand telling everything, bro. Like like it's no game. I'm literally fascinated by the shit that they have him saying, man. And, it's crazy because he, just to kind of brief everybody, Tekashi 6ix9ine, Daniel Hernandez, he was a rapper, kind of rose to fame off trolling on the internet. And he kind of struggled to do what he wanted to do, rock, rap, things like that. Essentially, he was met by, the Treyway faction of the Bloods in New York. Interesting thing about those Bloods who were directly related to 6ix9ine. There was a time where 50 Cent was saying that, Tekashi was his son, right? The interesting kind of caveat to that is those Bloods that 6ix9ine is testifying against. 50 said those are one of his good friends' little homies, right? So the weird part, 6ix9ine said pretty much they saw him, they, approached him and talked to him, and he told them he could rap, but he kind of continued his career. The record label he ended up being signed to, he was signed with Trippie Redd. As we know, well, and what's crazy about it, so Trippie Redd is pretty much like a yelling, kind of like Tekashi. They kind of, to me, seem very similar, except Trippie Redd sings more. So Tekashi came out in court to say that actually his first song, Gummo, not his first song, but his first hit record, which was Gummo, was actually a diss record to Trippie Redd because they were both Bloods, but their blood factions were feuding, right? So I don't think people didn't even really put that together before. He told that, he's telling everything, essentially. And then eventually he came out to say that after he had another hit record, which was a song called Cuda, that's when he saw that he had this formula. The formula was to talk gang shit, be hard, act hard. It would get him hit records. So he knew that's what he had to stick with. And after Cuda, was when he became a blood. It's like, that's so crazy. So pretty much like the Treyway blood say, hey, we don't have to, it ain't gonna be no initiation or nothing like that, but you just gonna keep running us that check. And he got full privileges, and now he's on the stand singing.
Dog, this is a classic case of a gang send-off who's been scary his whole life but wanted to be a part of something, getting caught up in singing, bro. It's just for the public eye. Like, everyone in that gang know he's never been about that. You know what I mean? But, hey, if we can send him off and get some money off of it, let's do it. If you ever looked at the actual gang, and when he's standing with the gang, he sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, he shouldn't be there. He looked at made up anyway. Like, all those 6ix9ine tattoos and all that shit, it looked at like a parody. You know what I mean? It looked like satire. So I said it from the beginning, like, he gonna snitch, and he's gonna snitch like no other. And niggas was like, man, hell nah, Joe, that nigga blood. Man, are you crazy?
Bro, where were the OGs and all this? You know what I'm saying? Like, who couldn't see this coming from a mile away?
Endangered species, bro.
Like, ain't nobody on top of they food chain in their gang was like, yo, we can't have him out here like this, because if he sees too much and knows too much, he's going to tell the first instance of him getting pinched.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what he did. Like, this shit is like not surprising me, like, at all.
Like, I think 50 did what's right, though. Fuck that. Hey, man, don't call me. I mean, like, it's crazy. I know we live in an era where, snitches get stitches and no snitching. And sometimes I say, that's a horrible thing. That's something that hurt our community. But not in this case. I feel like you out there perpetrating and getting down with the crew. You got to take it. You got to take it. You know what I mean? I don't feel like he was just a rapper rapping about their lifestyles. I think he was part of the bullshit.
Yeah. That's the key part that people brought up, because a lot of people saying, oh, he was young, he was misguided. And I like Charlamagne was like, no, like when you read the first indictment, like homie, like he ordered robberies, he ordered hits. Like, what I'm saying? He put people on dummy to shoot at Keith and all these other people. And if y'all remember, a lot of the real street guys, right, who are in rap, were saying blatantly that this nigga was the police. And if y'all recall, Keith said it. Somebody was like, you gonna come back at 6ix9ine? He said, this nigga the police. And people was like, oh, Keith hating, he talking crazy, he ain't getting no money no more. And lo and behold, Keith Cozart was right again.
A prophet in his own time.
Right. So, when you look at this, it's interesting, because the homie, they kind of talked about it when, I like, there was a 50 Cent interview where he said, yo, I told him don't come to Chicago. Because what ends up happening with the boy is that, and I think this is always interesting in certain people who part of gang life. And I think, in Chicago, we witnessed gang life for a long time. And a lot of times when you see people in that life start to get money, right? Money. I'm talking about real money, not that fake money. So this music money that was coming in was like real for real money, if y'all recall. So This boy was making a ton of money. Like, I think even at the time of his arrest, they said he had $2.7 million in like one bank account. Right. So, and this is, he's distributing money to these people. People are getting paid. So everybody starts to feel untouchable. So that's where, and they were kind of buying into the image in terms of like, okay, if we make him seem hard, he's gonna seem bigger. That's gonna increase those checks.
which is
So
true.
everybody, a lot of people in the label started to actually like show their faces. So you got real bloods showing their faces with him and, thinking it's cool. And, 50 was like, hey, I told him, don't go to Chicago. Because they were, at that time, they were getting real money. They felt invincible. They felt like, okay, if we go there, 50 said he point blank told him, don't think it's nobody like the group of guys you with in Chicago. Don't make that mistake.
Right. They're like, we guilty of that too. Chicago is definitely guilty of. We think nobody in the world is as tough as us.
Absolutely.
So I can understand. I can understand his attitude with that, but that's the truth. When we be going places, I tell people, "Hey man, we in fucking Houston, Texas. Let's not get drugged to nobody's fucking swamp, which y'all try to GD."
Right. You understand that we will be what's the people when they go hunting, they be putting animals on their wall.
Man, they'll whatever they call them. Right. We would be
they'll definitely be like, hey, these Chicago niggas came down here popping shit. And they not with us no more. God bless them. Like
bad news beat them home.
Right. Bad news will beat you home, man.
Man, all I can think about is The Wire. They were trying to, them New York niggas was in Baltimore. Oh yeah, you get a bonus every time you kill a New York nigga. So yeah, bro.
Yeah. So I definitely look at that like, yo, that was something that was super interesting. And now we look up and he's telling everything. He's telling on everybody. 6ix9ine with the stuff that they actually had on him, surveillance. He was facing 47 years fed time, like not, New York State, 47 feds.
Which means he had to do 43.
Right, which means he had to do 43, and not them private prisons where you see them inmates mounting Vizios on the wall. Like, that's fed. He was in the federal penitentiary. The flip side of that is, like they said, he wasn't used to the life. He wasn't ready for the life. He didn't ask for the life. Essentially, he just thought he was going to get the perks. So, of course, when they say, if you tell on everybody, we can possibly get you 6 years or less and witness protection for life. He said, sure, I'll do it.
Shit. Yeah. Do I get to keep my money as well?
Right. What's crazy about that, they were talking about that as well, because, of course, he had 2.7 million, and that was before his album was out, right? So they like, and with everything adding up, because their label was kind of pretty much independent. They have a distribution deal, but they're right. So they're pretty much saying, like, when he come out, like, this kid could have like close to, some people estimate it could be up to 15 million waiting on him. Which is interesting, because it's like in witness protection, ain't like you can really do shit with $15 million, because what you gonna do? Like you go buy, if you do some wild shit like buy a $5 million house, witness protection ain't gonna give you the Secret Service to cover your ass. Like, that ain't real life. So, it's gonna be interesting. A lot of debate about what he gonna do regarding the tattoos on his face. Like, are they gonna provide makeup every day? Like, what's going to happen? Like, does he get to go overseas somewhere? I just find it just crazy. What's kind of gonna happen with this? Not even necessarily in the trial, but in the long run. So,
man, but that's a lot of money, Dion. Like,
a lot.
People are not like, okay, let's look at Chicago right now. You got a band of mischiefs who are just doing everything under the sun. And like my guy said in his rap, these shorties walk around with 5 straps and ain't never seen 5 racks. So you talk about someone leading the brigade with 2.7 million, man. That's 2.7 million is a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money, bro.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they anticipating, because they already said, like, man, he was like, he was funding everything. Like, what Puff say way back in the day, a million. I got 1 million thugs on salary.
Let's go, Big Puff. I mean, but see, that's what I be saying, man. Like when you talk about these people, like y'all be saying, like people say stuff like Puff Soft or Jermaine Dupri ain't none of this. You got too much money, bro. You can pretty much be what you want to be when you got that kind of money.
Right.
I mean, there's people out here doing stuff for less.
Right. I mean, unfortunately, the fact of the matter is everything comes with a price now. And it always has, but it's fascinating because the costs have not risen with the rate of inflation. It's real legit when people be like, yo, it's a rap lyric, but Lil Baby said, $2,500 for a new pair of tennis shoes, the same price I can get the youngest to come finish you. Literally, and I know people think it's just a lyric, but literally, it's places you can go, and I could get you shot at for $1,000 and that's just the fact of the matter. Like it ain't rocket science. It ain't hard. That's just the world that we live in. So
niggas are starving,
right. So I look at it like, what do you think's gonna happen when you have these issues with people like somebody with that stature and somebody to do it just to get the notoriety. You hate to speculate. I know this is pure speculation. Don't quote me or harm me, but a guy who filed a lawsuit last year against Kevin Spacey was found dead today. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, okay, like
shit, really real.
Man, when motherfuckers can touch you, they really want to get you touched.
Man, if y'all ever go back and look at that Penn State shit, a lot of people got touched.
And that's Foundt with a T, not a D at the end. Foundt. And it sounds crazy, and I know people like to think these things are fantasy if you're naive, but this is some simply real shit. Like, he was facing too many lawsuits. One of these lawsuits got to go. Who's the easiest to get? Goodbye. So.
I mean, if you're into that, and you just say, hey, this guy's suing me for $1 million. I can pay this guy $20,000 to take care of this business. I mean, if you have a clear conscience after that, I mean, what you think is gonna happen?
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like my conscience would be clear.
Especially you suing me over some bullshit. Hey.
Oh man.
Ooh, child. It's a lot going on.
Oh man.
All these New York cats wilding, man. Even the New York undercover niggas.
Oh man. You know what? Hold before we get to Malik, as y'all know, one of my favorite rappers, like personality wise, I think I'm gonna go as far as say in the history of rap, and that's a lot of people. But I'm gonna tell y'all this: there is probably nobody I like more in rap right now, personality wise, than Vince Staples, right?
Oh yeah,
Vince. Listen,
Vince ain't never.
I love Vince, boy. So Vince, of course, Vince could not leave this Tekashi 6ix9ine situation without a comment because he been talking. Vince talk about everybody, R. Kelly, all type of shit. Vince roasted America. He said, "Y'all let this nigga run around with a mask on his face and said nothing about it for years." So Vince Staples, literally said, he said, "Did 6ix9ine tell on you? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z." Right? So literally, Vince Staples, he said, "When the hood pass goes wrong, you hate to see it." Then he took it a step further and said, "I blame the Mexicans because y'all could have just supported Baby Bash and Lil Rob. They would have stayed solid." Oh man.
Ridiculous.
See?
Fucking ridiculous.
But true.
No lies were told.
No lies were told, man. So many people are saying shit. They even asked, they asked Tory Lanez about it, and Tory Lanez was like, "Hey, man, like, he's like, I feel for the guy, but he made the decision that he made. Like, he knew what he was doing and who he was getting into business with.
Yes.
So, yeah."
China.
Yeah, but Malik Yoba wilding out. Oh my God, Malik Yoba out there, of New York undercover fame. Why did I get married fame? I'm gonna try to sum this up so we can get to the part where us talking. So Malik Yoba, let's start at this. There was a guy on the internet. Video went viral of a guy being harassed outside a store for essentially being, liking transsexuals, trans women, as they were called. So, he was a young guy outside the store, and people were like filming him on their camera phones. They were yelling at him like, "Hey, you like trannies, and on the video he came out and say, yeah, I like trannies. Like, so the fuck what? Blah blah blah. He stood his ground. So outside of that video, and that video came out after it was reported he committed suicide. So it went viral. It took everybody out. It took Black Twitter by storm. I did one retweet, and then and there was a massive showing of support for the young man in his after he passed. And then I was like, this is interesting. We don't, I always like to play the long game with stories because headlines I have you fucked up. The next day, the story comes out, and people were really rallying in support of this man. Black Twitter spread. Some of the celebrities who are more active on Twitter, you'll see like Ava DuVernay, people like that were like retweeting his story. Then there was a black trans group who came out to speak on behalf of his girlfriend and their organization. And they came out and they said, while he was in a relationship with this woman, he is no hero or no martyr because he was abusing that young lady in their relationship. He was abusive, and then he's abusive, manipulative, and essentially somehow they separate. I know she left him, and I can't recall if she left him under duress, but I believe she left him under duress. And while they were together, he was threatening to kill her and himself. But once she left under duress, at that time, once she got away, he killed himself. So while there's still a tragedy, they were like, hey, he's no martyr, he's no spokesperson. This man was violent towards the girlfriend. So that was one thing. So, but, the celebrities were still pouring themselves out. So Malik Yoba came out and went on social media and it came out and says that he's trans attracted. Saying that he's attracted to transsexual. He's attracted to transsexual women. Love is love, and all this other, Malik Yoba type shit. And that's where the fire started.
That's when I got done a real life. Before we even get started on him, I don't know, man. The world is so crazy nowadays.
These subjects are tricky to touch.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. We got to do disclaimers. We got to sign off. Because I'm coming to terms with you can disagree with everybody unless they're a part of LGBT. Once you disagree with them, then you're homophobic, right? I don't want to step on no toes and nothing. But if you say stuff like, I'm not attracted to trans women, because that's what it's trans women, right? Because that's what they. I'm not attracted to trans women. Then why? What the fuck? I'm not attracted to a lot of people. You know what I mean? That don't make me a bad person because I'm not attracted to you, bro. I mean, nowhere in the law said I have to be attracted to every woman on the earth. Right. So why all of a sudden, because you put a prefix before woman, I can't be attracted to you? Whew. It's a no for me, bro.
I think people, especially in those communities, because there are a lot of cool people in those communities, but the ones who like want to argue and fight at every turn, they try to equate rejection with not accepting. Mm-hmm. Like, and not like rejecting advances. Right. Like, just because I reject your advance don't mean I don't accept your lifestyle. Like, I can accept your lifestyle. You can, live how you want in your own place, outside, at work, do what you want. If that shit ain't got nothing to do with me, then I'm cool. But you try to bring me into that shit, then no. I'm straight. I pass.
And let's make it clear, bro. I don't think we care about what people are doing behind closed doors because that's what this is, right?
Yeah, like I mean
at the end of the day, all this stuff is a sexual orientation.
Yeah, like it's people who probably still get riled up about it because of their religious beliefs, and but like I think in 2019, there's a lot more people who are just like understanding, like motherfuckers live a different life now.
They live a different life,
and shit, what you eat don't make me shit
at all.
The prophet, the poet, Sean Corey once said,
man, what you drink don't make me piss. Because I just don't get it for the life of me. Like, even with Malik, okay, you're attracted to trans women. I don't think it should have been an uproar. If that's what he likes, that's what he likes. Congratulations. Moving on.
Now, here's my question. Didn't he come out with that because he was trying to get in front of something, Dion, or am I wrong? Was that just a rumor?
That was a rumor. And I'll tell you why that was a rumor. We can't confirm that. Because essentially that was kind of a reaction. I don't think he was necessarily trying to get in front of anything, but the backlash was horrible because what ends up happening, so Malik Yoba has 2 kids, and an ex-wife. He made this statement on his Instagram, right? So that means you decided to come out and say that you're attracted to trans women on your own social media, on your own merit. Mm-hmm. The reason why that's problematic is because he didn't talk to his ex-wife, which, whatever. His ex-wife wasn't upset by that. What she was upset by is that he didn't tell his children. So immediately that's how his children found out. So of course, people that his kids know and go to school with were like, yo, what the fuck's up with your father? You know what I'm saying? So they caught the backlash. Right. So the ex-wife was upset about that. She was like, hey, you should have talked to your kids first. The flip side of that is that, it was quite interesting in his interview. He brought up other men who have, seemingly had relations with trans individuals, which I thought was so bizarre because he brought up Mr. C. And, we know Mr. C. Mr. C's been caught with transsexual boys in New York, prostitutes several times. He brought up Eddie Murphy, which I thought was super bizarre because I'm like, to our knowledge, Eddie Murphy's had one incident. It wasn't confirmed really. But then it's like, Eddie Murphy don't bother nobody, fam. You know what I'm saying?
He don't.
So
he don't. He just made him out,
man.
But he gets you killed.
Right, Eddie may get you killed. And then
he's still Charlie,
right,
brother.
Right. And then the final thing that was super bizarre. So when he came out, there was a trans woman who came out who said, "Yeah, we know that because you used to pick up several trans prostitutes in New York on 14th Street while you were filming New York Undercover, many of whom were underage runaways looking to support themselves."
Yeah, I remember that part too. So how does that play
the plot
into how the trans community accepts him? Because you want to protect our underage kids,
right?
So how? How do they feel about
I mean,
that?
the interesting part is he went and he did this Breakfast Club interview where he kind of doubled down on being a transsexual male. He doubled down on himself being a heterosexual. He was like, "I'm a heterosexual male. Let's get this straight." But I believe love is love. Like what? Like, all right, man. Like that's not what you said a week ago, bro. Like, so it's all bizarre, man. It's just. Yeah.
But I don't know all these equations, so I'm gonna ask a lot of questions. Trans mean you still got the wee wee, right?
Fresh. I actually do not know. But
I thought that's like you on your way to be a woman. You're not really a woman yet.
Fresh. I don't know.
See, I think you're transitioning.
Maybe we need to bring an expert on the show. Cause we don't know. But we don't know. We don't know. I think at some point, I was listening to a podcast that I came across. It's interesting. It's a podcast called Me and the Gay Homie, right? So it's a guy and his homie who's gay, and they just have conversations about life. And they were talking about being trans, right? What was interesting is that he said that as far as trans women are concerned, that whenever somebody that was essentially, I guess, trans, whenever they decide that they feel like a woman, from that point, you start to identify them as a trans woman. But then again, that's just one person's definition. That's all I got to go with. But that's what he said. So,
No, I'm sorry for laughing. But all I can think about is that episode of Atlanta, the jail scene. Like, we used to be in the show, girl. Nah, nigga. If that was a woman, they'd be on the other side.
You gay.
I'm sorry, man. I know the line's so thin, man. Like, but oh my god, that was hilarious.
You know what's crazy? I'm not sure if you watch another one of my favorite rap personalities is Kevin Gates, and he go live with people every day, and somebody hopped on and they were like, how do you like? What do you think about gay people and transsexuals? And he said, hold on, let me cut you off right there. I've been to prison several times. He was like, man, I don't care. He was like, I don't care. The reason why I bring that up is this. I bring that up and I'm merging these two conversations based on this next clip. So check this out. This is a clip from The Shop. LeBron show on HBO, an exchange between Kevin Hart and Lil Nas X.
Mm-hmm. And with all that early success, you felt it was important to make an announcement recently.
He said it was gay, so what?
Yeah, what's the point? So why did he feel that was necessary? It's not about who cares. That's actually my question. Why did he feel it was necessary to come out and say that?
It's not that it's being forced. It's just knowing growing up, I'm growing up to hate this shit. I'm not supposed to ever like this.
Hate what? Hate what?
Homosexuality, gay people. Come on now.
Why are you going to?
If you're really from the hood, it's not some. So it's if for me, the cool dude with the song on top of everything to say this, any other time, I'm doing this for attention in my eyes. But if you're doing this while you're at the top, it's for real, and it's showing it doesn't really matter, I guess.
Exactly, it doesn't.
There it is.
Whew. So that kicked off a firestorm.
Kevin Hart drags, but they try to pull it again with Kevin.
He got dragged. And Kevin it was interesting because Kevin also, that was around the time or the day before his accident. And
they drugged. Oh my God! If you have Twitter's a horrible place. Just know the bullies became the bullies when he got into a car.
It was people, all types of people saying he should die and things like that, and he deserves to be a cripple. And it was interesting because I'm reading this and I'm like, and I watched the episode and I'm like, where did he go wrong? And people were like, all the news outlets kind of that specialize in what Dave Chappelle said, the alphabet news was saying like, oh, Kevin Hart gaslit Lil Nas X. And, I was sitting there and I'm like, this is bizarre. Like, I really need to see where this gaslit happens. So I'm like, I'm watching it and I'm kind of like, I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. So when I look up, and it was funny, I'm researching stuff for the show today, and everybody's like, oh, he gaslit him by telling him that he didn't care. And if you listen to the show, you see that Kevin Hart wasn't the only one who said, who cares? He said, when he's talked about coming out, Kevin Hart said, so what? Charlemagne in the background said, who cares? So I found that fascinating because I'm looking like, how do we get to this point? Right. So where, it's damn near people want Kevin Hart to die because of that.
But to me, the reason why Kevin Hart was saying, who cares? He was saying it shouldn't even be an issue that you're gay, fam. Like, no one should be mad or sad or like, you a regular person like everybody else. Once you own up, and that's why Maverick hit him with once you say you something, can't nobody else say you're anything else. You know what I mean? Like, okay, let's keep it moving. You're gay, but okay, we love your music, bro. That's not gonna change anything. You know what I mean? And a lot of people took it as a way like Kevin Hart don't care about gay people. Like, no, man, y'all just want him to be a villain. And right now he at that point where he can say nothing, like he can't bring it up at all without it being negative. I blame Don Lemon.
Oh God.
No, bro. You can't say no shit like that, man. I told you we really live in this soft, pacified culture now where people aren't afraid to get punched in their fucking mouth. Don Lemon said the whole every time a gay person is offended, Kevin Hart should apologize. No, hell no. You know what I mean? Like, you give one sincere ass apology, that's enough. In life, period. Gay, straight, curvy, wavy, it don't matter. If you give a sincere apology, I accept your apology, let's move on. I'm not gonna say, you know what? I thought about it again. I got mad again. Apologize again. That's horrible, bro. And that's why I be saying, like, sometimes the bully becomes the bully. Like, even when I was just in Atlanta for the One Music Fest, it was me, Will, and a friend of ours. We were standing watching the concert, and like a group of gay guys and their female friend walk up and like stand in front of her, and she like, I can't see, you know what I mean? And the girl moved out the way instantly, and then the guys was like looking standoffish, like, no. And she like, I've been right here, yo. It's kind of disrespectful you to move. And they telling the girl like, come back up here, like, you know what I mean? She like, no, I'm cool. And I'm like, hey man, what she just say? But I'm looking at the situation like, we're men. So I can punch you in the fucking face for you acting crazy right now, but it'll still be looked at as, he bogus. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But you was being disrespectful as a man, fam. That didn't have nothing to do with your sexual orientation. So if I would beat your ass out there, that was just because you're being a man disrespecting a woman. And, and that's what I was saying. The line is so skewed now. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Go ahead, Ed.
No, I wasn't saying that. Go ahead.
So if y'all, Mayor Pete, the problematic mayor, who of South Bend, Indiana, who has been, decided to, run for president, and he's also a gay man, right? So he's also had, very checkered and problematic dialogue with Black people for quite a long time based on stuff that's happened in South Bend. One thing that's interesting, so he was talking about these lines that we have, and he eventually said, when you tell someone that's gay or transsexual that you don't care about their sexuality, it's like telling a Black person you don't see color. And exact quote. And I was a little stuck because I'm like, okay, all right. It's almost such a slippery slope that now you almost feel like there's no good way to even talk about the subject or discuss it, right? Like, and it's like, you sit in here and you have these feelings and these thoughts, but it's like almost like everything you feel like anything you say will be taken wrong by somebody. Right. It'll be interesting. And I think the interesting part that a lot of men who I feel like are like us who are straight is trying to come to say like, like for us, like, and I feel like what Kevin and Charlamagne was trying to say is like, yo, like, fam, I don't care what you do. Like I don't care. Like it doesn't concern me. Like, it doesn't bother me. I don't even necessarily want to think about it. So it's like, cause we still look at it like it's a sexuality thing, right? So we're looking at like, if it's a sexuality thing, I could care less about what any of y'all do. So that's kind of the point we in. But now you're trying to tell us like that's wrong, like that I'm wrong for not caring about what you do sexually. It's like, what? Like where did we get this? And I even think the flip side, what people are not paying attention to, and what I really didn't necessarily like. Lil Nas X is, I think, 21 years old, right? So it's funny because I actually got a chance to see him and be next to him at the One Music Fest, and I'm looking at the dude and I'm like, this dude, like, it's funny because he's tall as shit, and I'm just like, this is like his existence must be interesting because he has the biggest song in the country, the biggest song essentially ever if you look at chart performance, and he's there backstage, and everybody he's like in a fishbowl because essentially he came out of nowhere. So people don't want to necessarily take too many pictures with him. He's not really having a lot of conversations, but other people are going crazy for the Waka Flockas, the Trey Songz. People are going crazy for these people, but him, it's like this weird existence. And I find it interesting on that show. He kind of, he veered off to say that essentially like, we're raised to hate gay people. And Kevin even kind of, pushed back a little bit and then was like, what are you talking about? And he hit him with the, come on now. And I was looking and it was interesting because I saw people take that and run with it and say, hey, like, the black community is raised to hate gay people, which is a narrative that I think is it's overblown like a motherfucker.
Yeah, because I took some offense to that too. Like, we may not embrace the gay community, but we not raised to hate it. Right. Like, we got so much other shit going against us. Like, motherfuckers being gay is like 12 on like our power ranking of shit that we got to be worried about. And honestly, truly, majority of the people worried about people being gay because we got motherfucking uncles touching boys and shit, or aunties touching girls. You know what I'm saying? We think of it like that, but like, of course, again, you got your religious people who think the shit wrong, and I know people have been, thrown out of families, all that shit. But like, we're not raised like you see these gay motherfuckers in the street beat their ass. Like, no,
never.
We probably like we're probably raised like that ain't right, that ain't lifestyle. Not just because we're black, is mainly off the religion.
Yeah. Or, toxic masculinity.
Oh,
the whole, we wouldn't want our son to be like that, or we'll hit him in the head with a dollhouse. That whole thing. I don't know, man. It's
you know what's interesting when that comes up, the question I want to ask? What ethnicity or race is overly accepting of gay people?
Blacks. The black woman is the most accepting of gay culture of any race, culture, creed, anybody in the world. A black woman would take up for a gay black man before she take up for a straight black man. I said it. Fight me. I don't care. Man, please. You see all these drag shows. Who go to them the most? When you look at them crowds, who is it? Man, please, don't get me started, man. Let me drink this Pepsi and I don't even talk. Y'all gotta know a black woman will stand up for a gay black man with the jiffiness, baby.
They the first ones to say, yes, queen.
Man, what? Man, woo, child. Don't get me started. And
oh, wow.
It's crazy to me, like, I can be around women who have gay male friends and be like, he's such a slut. You know what I mean? But it's funny when it's a gay man. You know what I mean? Like, do you tell him to use protection? Because if the straight man was doing that, I'm a womanizer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm scum of the earth. And you don't plan on settling down and getting married. Why y'all always asking us that? So let me see. It's a lot, bro. Like, we'll need a whole episode with like a panel for that. Because child, me and my guy at work was I ain't gonna say his name, but he married, and he like he feels the same. And he was like, he said, "Girl, if you don't get in here," he said it was basically like, "Girl, if you don't get in here and have sex with me and start worrying about other people's sexual orientation along those lines." And I was like, I can understand. He like, you have a straight man doing everything he's supposed to be doing for you, and you're a better advocate for the gay black man community than you are for the straight man community. And I was like, that's some tough shit there.
Yeah, I got time, cuz.
And he's legit like one of the good guys, like faithful than a mug. You know, he's one of those that he can count on one hand about sexual partners. He's like a good dude. So he's real passionate when it comes to that. You know what I mean? Like, he's a protector, provider, everything he's supposed to be. So when you're not taking up, he's like, when you're not uplifting me, but you'll uplift the next thing over there, yeah, he feels a certain way about it.
That's tough, man. Shit. You know,
That's funny you mentioned protector and provider.
Speaking of black women, today, a powerful part of Fantasia Barrino. She did Aunt P's favorite.
Yes. I'm waiting for this segment.
Undoubtedly.
You know what's so funny? I got an email last week because I went to something and it sent me an email like about tickets and concerts and now it sends me this email about like meet and greets, right? So it was like, man, it's meet and greets with Fantasia. When I seen that shit, I looked immediately. I was like, man, if we can get Aunt on the meet and greet with Fantasia, I know she married. I get it, but I'm like, hey, I need my boy to meet him. Yeah. So I'm looking, I'm like, okay. I look up and I'm like, where the meet and greets? But she's not doing the meet and greet in Chicago, just a normal concert. I was like, ain't this about a bitch? Like, so
what the? We got to see who's throwing the concert and if there's anything he'll be doing around the area or something. Well, we can get him to at least say hi.
Give me backstage and take a pic. That will break the internet,
Yeah, because I don't know what they did with my girl Megan. I love Megan until she got famous. We were so happy for
her. So Fantasia did an interview on the Breakfast Club, and DJ Envy was talking to her about, the household and her husband, because if y'all recall, when she got married, there's a lot of controversy. And women actually kind of, and I won't say women, because people tore her to shreds a little bit because, of course, at the time, what was the first knock on her husband? Oh, he worked at the T-Mobile store, right? That was, that was one, and I never forget, it was literally like just out of there. He worked at the T-Mobile store, he broke, blah, blah, blah. So it's interesting because, she got on the Breakfast Club and she said this.
does that mean? You can't be a leader because a lot of women look at it like, no, I could lead in my household. I could do this in my household. What does that mean?
That's not how it's supposed to be, and that's why we bump heads. And I feel like it's a generational thing. And we could talk, we can go real deep on that, and I don't need to start that, but it's a generational curse. Mm-hmm. And how society have placed our men. Mm-hmm. And women have to stand up and be the mother and the father and the provider. And so then now you are so bad, you can't be told nothing, that when the right man come, you lose him because you're trying to be the man. I was finna say,
right,
man.
Mm-hmm. Can we be equal?
Oh, of course. Mm-hmm. But see, at the end of the day, I'm the neck, my man's the head. So he can't make any moves without his wife. You know what I mean? It all works together. But you can't be the head of the house. You got to let the man be the head of the house. But it's a generational thing, and it's what we've been taught. To stand up, be strong, be the, you know what I mean? And a dude come and everything about you is like a man.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. So before we get into this, I'm gonna throw something out there. I gotta throw. So I gave Brother Ant a book I wanted him to read. Right? It's called The Way of the Superior Man. Right? And
his soul's progression.
Hey man. I gave him that book because it was interesting. It helped me. It helped me understand a lot about, manhood and my own energy, and actually like so much about women as well, right? And it was super funny because in that clip, the moment that I definitely agree with Fantasia, but the moment that stuck out with me, is she talked all of this and she said this stuff, and Angela Yee comes up and she said, "Well, can we be equal?" Like, shut up. Like, I feel like that's like the single woman comment section. Anytime anybody anytime a woman in a relationship or marriage say something on Facebook or Twitter on social media, you got that single woman in the comments, whether she type it or not, want to know, like, well, can we be equal? Aren't we the same? Like, it's like the positions almost won't understand each other. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't been in them shoes. The one thing I will say before we get into this segment, and I need you to make a disclaimer, because I feel like our listeners right now, some of them are disrespecting Fantasia. So we need you to make a statement so they know not to slander her.
Oh, okay. For anyone under the sound of my voice, if you are in the city limits, I will come see about you and fuck you up. If you are outside the city limits, I will send for someone within your city limits to come fuck you up. I know what you're going to say, the usual jokes. She can't read. Somebody probably wrote her speech. Bitch, I'm sorry, I almost called y'all out your name already. She can read. She can talk quite well. And unlike your single ass, she can get a man. And get married. So, fuck you.
And get married.
Fuck you. Fuck off. And I know some of y'all going to say, well, she's still ugly. Like, whoa. Have you looked at yourself when you woke up in the morning? Have you? So, you can disagree with her, but don't cross the line, especially when it comes to Fantasia Barrino. She is still my crush. You will still get fucked up. You will still get slapped.
And just to cap it off, no literacy jokes either. I will say that none would not be tolerated. No.
I seen some the motherfuckers y'all fuck. Don't make no literacy jokes.
We seen their captions that they type. We see them still trying to read with the finger on the paper.
Come on.
Because if we keeping it funky, we really know y'all. We know life choices. So.
Not too much on Fantasia Barrino.
We'll get to my part with it. Let me keep that in my notes. I'm gonna keep that in the chamber.
Any comments on that? You know what, Ant? Let's hear from you first as a formerly married man. I want to hear from you on what she said.
So I watched what she said, and then there was another video of her and her husband. and to provide more clarity to what she said. And I thought, I don't really try to rock with her husband because, he stole my crush. But it was actually a pretty good video and they explained it. And pretty much, he was like, however you want to run your household, that's on you. But if you want clarity on how we run our household, like this is why we do what we do. And he was just saying that, when he's trying to lead, first and foremost, when he's leading, like when he's saying he wants his wife to submit to him, he has to submit to God first. Mm-hmm. And and let me bring this all full circle, right? I see all these people complaining about submitting and they only gonna submit under these terms, and even guys who are like, yeah, this guy do whatever I say, blah blah blah. All these people talking about submitting, but don't know where the submit part come from because they ain't stepped foot in the church in eons. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these people trying to come up like
with their own definition
and their own definition of what it says in the Bible, and ain't picked up the original definition in the first place. But we do that a lot in our lives. Mm-hmm. We remix what the Bible says to make ourselves not feel as bad because we know we ain't following the shit.
Come on, D.
We know we not going to church. So we try to pick and choose, and then when things like this come up, we get on social media and start spitting like dumbass knowledge that makes no sense because we know where it originally comes from. So once he said I need to submit to God before I ask a woman to submit to me, I was like, okay, like this is kind of real. Like he's talking about it a little bit because it says that in the Bible, and he talk about that in marriage counseling. Like for myself, my pastor definitely went over that with me and Elle when we were in our marriage counseling. I can say for me personally that I did not do the best job of leading in my marriage, which is one of the contributing factors that led to, our mutual split and divorce. And then, like in marriage counseling, I'm like saying, yeah, I understand. But you don't really understand them until you go through it. And this is why I say all the time, like the black church fails men a lot in marriage because single ministries are always focused on the women in church. It's true. A lot of workshops are focused on like, why are women single? Women, you need to do this to get a man. When it comes to the black man in the black church, they just say, oh, he go to church, he fine. He cool. He singing the choir, he cool. Ain't no real like, it's a little counseling, the joint counseling, but there's no real men's retreat, how to be a single man growing up in the church. Because no one wants to keep it real with it. It's like no one taught me there's gonna be times where like your wife gets on your nerves. Like, what are you gonna do about it? There's gonna be like, how do you lead a household when she makes more than you? A lot of men don't know how to function in that because they get embarrassed, they underemployed, and then they take the attitude out on women.
I just keep the debit card.
Yeah, there's like nobody was real with me. Like, if I'm being 100% honest, like, how do you function as a married man when all these single hoes still throwing a pussy at you, knowing that you're married?
Man,
no one gives that talk to men. They just like, oh, you in the church, you about to get married? Oh, you a catch.
You good.
That's why you have a lot of men who are in the church and are conceited because we're raised and treated like that. Yeah. As long as I can read, don't nobody know I really hit a woman, and I'm not that ugly. Women set their daughters out before you like you are the golden fucking calf.
And I know dudes in church who are horrible, like terrible people. Like, bro, some of the worst dudes I know are church people.
And I know a lot of great church guys, but like Douglas is not lying. So like when it comes to like the whole submitting thing, like I gotta make sure I'm right before I tell you to submit to me. And he, Fantasia's husband was making good points. He was like, before I can have you follow me somewhere, I gotta know about the finances. I gotta know how to budget. I gotta know about the educational system in my community and things like that. I didn't. He was like, for me, like I didn't know what's going on at the grocery store, whatever. So when you come to me with a problem, I've already researched that problem because I'm already in tune. And like men and women are in tune with their partners or with themselves or what's surrounding them, and you can't lead nothing properly. So he was like, when I'm saying I'm leading her and her to submit to me, I'm not gonna lead her in the bullshit, pretty much. And so yeah, they were speaking the truth. If you follow the word of God, you follow the Bible like that. If you're someone who was married, like they're telling the truth, whether you want to admit it or not. If you don't believe he's telling the truth, that means you on bullshit. Pretty much. And you ain't gonna get this much honesty from me. So like, you listen to this podcast, don't try to use it against me. I'll beat your ass. Anywho, go ahead, Fresh.
I agree. I agree. I think any relationship is based on what you can tolerate, right? Like, I heard a statement: all women are crazy. You're gonna marry the one who you can tolerate, whose craziness you can tolerate. Same thing with men. Like, I know women get a hard deal dealing with men, and like Ann said, with our egos. Some men are underemployed, but as a spouse, I ain't gonna say as a man or a woman, but as a spouse, I feel like you uplift, your spouse or whatever. So for a woman, men have fragile egos, right? So I feel like sometimes you need to cater to them, just egotistically wise. Like even if, like when she says she's the neck and he's the head, like even though he's the head, you still need the neck to make decisions and little add-ons. And I feel like as a man, you should definitely always consult with your spouse. Like, yeah, baby, I'm about this Lexus truck, but do you think we should have bucket seats in it? It's just stuff like that. Like, everything should be a two-way street, but it should also be, like she said, let him be the head and she just be the neck. A lot of people think, how I put this, like when they say equal parts or whatever, and I know a lot of people be like, man, nah, chill the fuck out. Because if you're doing your job as a man, as a protector and provider, we leave that out a lot of times as well. Like, you have to be on top of your shit. A lot of guys complain about their woman not submitting, but are you doing all the things that would make her submit? You know what I mean? You still have to hold up your end 100%, bucko. Like you have to hold up your end.
Newsflash, pal.
Right, newsflash, pal. She's not just going to follow a dead horse, nigga. You got to be a stallion out there walking. You know what I mean? So,
and hold on, though. A lot of times, though, a lot of women are guilty of this. Y'all follow a dead horse, a couple of dead horses, and then try to categorize everyone that men ain't shit and they worthy to be followed behind. But you made decisions to follow the dead horse.
And now you got a fucking steed and you fucking it up. So,
and that comes from that spirit of discernment. Like, you gotta, like, again.
Could you say that spirit again?
The spirit of discernment.
Yes.
Like, and again, this is from, like, if you're even in church, into the word. Like, a lot, like, we're talking about this whole submit thing, but like, if y'all not going to church, y'all not Christians, y'all don't want to do that, like, that's fine. That's your choice. But don't like, oh, I'm gonna pick this part and I'm gonna follow along with it, and then fuck the other 98% of what you supposed to be doing.
And that's a big factor with me too. And like, I tell everybody, like, that's why I take marriage so seriously. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like marriage, whether you like it or not, is a religious thing. You know what I mean? Like, whatever religion you practice, marriage is a part of that. I mean,
it's a covenant.
Right, exactly. You see what I'm saying? So I don't understand how you can go forth with that whole marriage thing and not bring that part with it. A lot of people think it's just a wedding and a ring. But no, if you're getting married and y'all are supposed to be, tied at the hip forever now, you got to take everything that comes along with it. And I feel like both parties fail.
And another thing too, when people say like when Dion was like, women like, what can we be equal? A lot of people use that equal and turn it into a competition within the marriage, and they ain't healthy either. Just want to put that part. Go ahead, D.
No,
Feel like I'm
man.
thinking,
We love
American
that.
or
I
something.
speak for myself and the listeners. I already know they're gonna love it. I think what's interesting is coming from a person who does not attend church, doesn't really, it's interesting. I know some of the Bible. I'm not deep into the Bible. If there was an expert level on the Bible, 1 to 10, I would be a 2. But I think the interesting thing about just, and it's interesting, anybody who knows me knows that I read a lot, and a lot of my reading is about relationships and just manhood, because in my younger days, I felt that was a place where I was lacking that in several areas, right? So you want to get better, you talk to people, and eventually what happens as you get older, you realize that a lot of people lied to you, right? Or told you it from a perspective that you don't necessarily share, right? And you like, these old niggas was telling me dumb shit, right? So you're like these people were lying to me in the barbershop or wherever, just even, friends, older guys, you're like, you didn't like the outcome, so you had to switch it up. But the interesting part, any conversation about submitting and submission, and I said this when we actually brought the story up in the chat. I said both parties, in a sense, submit to each other. And a lot of times, a lot of people, I feel like a lot of guys want people to submit because they almost feel like, like this is something they've been waiting for their whole life because they've never had any control. And, they look at it and they say, yeah, I'm not going to have this whole being under my thumb and submit to me when if you know anything about women and women's spirit and women's energy, women are supposed to bloom and multiply. That's biology, and it's also reality. So I feel like a lot of times with the wrong partners, mission is suppressing women, right? And it fucks everything up. So when I think about it, and everything they said, what she said was super on point. And then I like the perspective he brought to it, because what he brought to it was the knowledge portion, which of course anybody knows appealed to the Dion in me. As he said, I need to know about all those things and said, school systems, groceries, budgeting. I need to know about all of these things, but he said, before they impact my family. And that was some of the realest shit I ever heard. He's like, so he said, so when my family come to me and wants to know these things, I've already put some thought into it. And I'm like, yo, like that's some ill shit. Like, regardless of any nigga you ever dated, that's the illest shit. So, ladies, if you listening to this shit, and I hate to get this type of advice, but think about it. If you go and ask your homie or ask the nigga you dating, ask the nigga you giving your coochie to, if you ask him about all those things in life and that nigga hemming and hawing and say, I don't know, and shit like that, think about that. Because that's some real shit. And it's not saying that somebody has to know all these things. That's not what I'm saying. But even just listen to the response and pay attention to it. And the flip side of that, Fantasia said, yo, I had money, but I learned budgeting from him.
Yep. She definitely said that. She was like,
right. She was like, we not living frugal because we ain't got it. But I mean, just even think about the mindset. She learned budgeting from a nigga who was a manager at a T-Mobile store, and she got millions. And now Fantasia's a real singer. She still get 50,000 a show every time she step on stage, but she learned budgeting from a nigga who probably was hourly. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just say that to say, like, she submitted, and then of course with her being a breadwinner, please believe that nigga submitted. Like, it was areas that he submitted in. You know what I'm saying? And with her already even having a child, there were areas that he submitted in. So it's a great song and dance, a great meeting of the minds that comes together that requires both parties to submit in certain areas. And when it happens, it's beautiful. And the thing is, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not, fire in the pan, boom, people are submitting. Like, that's just not how it works. But, with two partners is willing to do it, then you'll figure out a great flow, a great wave, and y'all will get it together. You know what I'm saying? And waves, sometimes they crash, but, they resume. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was a great conversation that needs to be had. And if anybody on either side is kind of saying, fuck what they talking about, or they wrong, or she wrong, or he wrong, or they wrong, then pay attention to that. Because that may not be somebody that you want to be, giving you cootie wop box to, or making dick appointments thinking you gonna make a future with it. Like, that may not be for you if you looking for long term.
And see, what that's perfect right there, what you spoke on, Dion. Like, so they say, he worked at T-Mobile and all this shit. But that what he gave her was something priceless. You know what I'm saying? Some shit like, oh, damn, this man really taught me how to budget and shit, and he loved me for me. Now it don't even matter what his job title is. You know what I mean? That's like, oh, okay. Long as you ain't using me, nigga, you should be cool. And like, well, Ant touched on this in his monologue about the underemployed. You see what I'm saying? So, like I say, all this shit work hand in hand together, man.
That article came out, and we're not going to really talk about this one day, but it was an article came out talk about women, pretty much women being single right now, and women being single right now, and pretty much there was an influx of men who were economically unattractive. And that article came out, and the interesting part, of course, it said that there was of course they said black women, and they slipped this in. Of course, black women are particularly the hardest hit, right? They're the hardest hit by, economically unattractive men.
I said that. I said that.
So it was super interesting to kind of see the response. Like I said, it was super interesting to see the response. And I'm trying to say this and be a bit delicate about it. But it's interesting to see us as a people, because Fresh has been saying since he's been on the podcast that black women are winning, right? Black women are winning right now. They're excelling like none other. So it's interesting to look at the flip side of it and say that we're in this point where men aren't attractive enough to marry. Finances are interesting. And we see this come up because a lot of times people are talking about bills and splitting bills and things like that. And it's interesting because the flip side of that is I know many, just being in my profession in the corporate, I know many white women that out earn their men, their partners, their husbands. And I'm like, it's interesting because, I don't, granted they don't come up to me and tell me their problems, but it seems they're okay. You know what I'm saying? They're able to at least get to this line that it seems like we're trying to get to. I'll look up and it'll be somebody who's a partner at a firm who is making over $500,000, and you'll look up and, the husband is doing XYZ. He may be a construction worker, and, shit works. So I found that super interesting, that article, because I'm like, I wonder how much of that is one, being realistic about relationships and kind of thinking about it, and then also being in that mindset to where you're able to learn from somebody who is maybe the T-Mobile store manager.
Right.
Who probably had to budget his ass off to survive.
He had to budget his ass off to survive, and he had the budget to take you out. Things like that. It's all interesting, man. And what was it? It was So they interviewed some people in this poll. They said 7 in 10 adults said it was very important for a man to be able to support a family financially to be a good husband or partner, while just 32% said the same for a woman to be a good wife or a partner. So it's interesting, right? So it's like you got this level of, so you got, they asked men, and out of men, 3 men out of 10 says, hey, yeah, like, I need this woman to make a certain amount of money. And 7 out of 10 women said, hey, I need this. And we get it. It's gender norms. It's been here forever. But, I talk about this forever. That, there was a time where, because one of my friends actually had a status saying, like, pretty much like she would never split bills 50-50, where the men get this idea from. And, the man is supposed to pay the mortgage and the bigger bills in the house. The woman takes care of the family and the smaller bills, right? So I bring up this conversation because it hit me. It means even more to me now than it did then. But like I said, it was, way back in the 2000s where I ran into these 2 women at KFC. I was sitting there eating my meal. And, we just talked about, they were talking about life, and then they asked me how old I was. We were talking. They literally told me they felt sorry for me. They felt sorry for my generation because they both worked, but literally when they decided to have kids, they did not have to work again. And they were both teachers before. So they had kids in their 20s, but one of them, she said, hey, my husband, he was a garbage man. Once I had kids, I never worked again. The other one, her husband was a teacher like her. Once she had kids, she never worked again. And she was like, the times back then, as much as things cost, they were able to afford that. And she's like, now it's just not even really feasible. And I'm like, huh?
Remember, that kind of was like, remember I made the status about, I had made a status about back then about like the generation before us messed up the Black community or whatever. Yeah, I was speaking, and we were speaking on that about how the fathers provided back then. You know what I mean? And I have no clue of how. I said they hustled and finessed their way into owning businesses and homes in comparison to making like legit pennies on the dollar from what we make now.
Shit, they had less bills too. Like the majority of our generation, like
got cable
hires for student loans.
Yeah, student loans was non-existent back then.
Because
nobody went to college.
Yeah, like if we didn't have to pay a $200 cable bill and $300 to $600 student loans a month.
Well, I don't know what they did for us car notes.
But yeah, shit.
Everybody was mechanics.
It's just the thing is, like, inflation outpaced everything. Like that, just that simple fact.
That too.
Inflation outpriced everything. Like if you go back and look to see how much a Ford Mustang was a dope car, right? So go back and look to see how much a Ford Mustang cost in the 70s. You're gonna see $5,000, right? You're gonna see some of them $3,000. So literally, a sports car was $3,000 to $5,000, right? So when you look at it, even if you go back and look at luxury cars in those times, you will see that the fucking Rolls Royce during that time was around $30,000, right? And it's like now, literally, just this time right now, these things are literally like costing. Like if you want a Mustang right now, like look at the cost. And that's not even that, and that's a luxury. So that's not even talking housing, right? That's not even talking a single family home in Chicago. Like literally, what we make is granted so much more than what our parents made, but the inflation outpaced us by a mile. So, and like P said, like the student loans weren't there. You know what I'm saying? The credit card interest rates, if they had them, were not there. we didn't have this cycle where people say, man, we can make so much money by lending other people money. Like that shit wasn't there. So, you know, it's bizarre. Different other little small things when you think about it. You even if we think about we were children, right? You can go and get something from a department store and place it on layaway. If you looked up right now and you wanted to get a 75-inch TV, you know, or the biggest TV, you can go and you can put on layaway. You can pay on it when you got the actual money. Now, the only time anybody offering layaway is Walmart, and it's for Christmas. But if you decide you want something any other time, you got to charge it with the interest rate. And that's the fortunate of us, right? So that's not even talking about us with the, you know, bad credit cards with fucking 29% interest rates. You know, so it's a lot of people, and I won't say a lot of people, but the world realized we can make money off people who don't have money. And they kick that shit in the high ass gear. So now if you don't have it, like they always say, if you don't have it, you being taxed. If your credit score is low when you go get that car, you're going to end up paying damn near, you know, you're going to end up paying so much interest you could have bought 2 cars realistically. It's so many small things like that. Like even when you go looking to buy a house and you actually put the real cost on paper on what you're going to pay for that house, they're going to tell you the interest rate low. But then when you look up and you say, wait a minute, this house costs $150, but over the life of this 30 years, I'm going to end up paying $3. Make that make sense to me, right? But so things like that always are interesting. But it's interesting that we've kind of we know so little about money that we kind of as a people have bought into the fact that if somebody is not economically where I want them to be, they're not somebody that I would date or marry. So I'm just gonna go at it alone. That's wild.
Go at it alone. That's a wild
man. So I didn't necessarily want to end it on that note, but you know, it takes it where it goes. Any party remarks, Ant?
No, I think I said enough. Again, don't come for Fantasia.
And the people always want you to say more. Just know that.
Always, you know, it's so hard, you know, being a Michelle of this show. It is so hard being a Michelle of this show. I've really become. I think people think my first name is now Where's Ant.
I hate you.
Hi, Ant. It's like hi, comma, Where's Ant. It's usually insert nickname, Fresh, Doug. If you know me from Westside fame, Nuggy. But now it's hi, Where's Ant.
You know, these lies that are told about me on this podcast have got to cease. Got to cease.
Okay. So
I got upcoming I got upcoming events. As y'all know, I am now like the resident DJ for Parlor Sports Bar on Tuesdays. We have an after work set from 5 to 10. It's in Cicero, Illinois. Great location. You don't have to worry about what you usually worry about when you come out and have a nice little drink. Nice little vibe. You know, I keep it real mellow. Don't come in there thinking you're going to hear the best of Chief Keef. You know, I like to play a little Neo Soul and then a little Ari Lennox. We also do Monday Night Football as well, so y'all come check me out. Any more info needed, you know, you can just hit me up, inbox me. Make sure y'all follow my DJ page, Fresh the Juice. That's Fresh D-A Juice, all one word. Look me up on IG. I like that little promo. Y'all should. You know what I'm saying? Your baby mama favorite DJ.
Come on,
you know. That's kind of one of my hashtags.
Well. You know, I don't even think I have much. I don't think I have much, man. Thank y'all for listening again. I appreciate y'all. Hopefully we'll see you real soon. hopefully we see you real soon. I really like the way this episode went. Hopefully y'all love it too. And no foreplay.
Yeah.
We out.
No foreplay.